Hello everyone. We are doing question 106 of the calculator review packet. So we start off with A. How many people have entered the park by 5 p.m., which is t equals 17? Now if you see in the directions, you see it goes from 9 to 23. So t equals 17 is really from 9 to 17 because 9 is your minimum value. Now, a good thing to look at first is to know your formulas that they give you. So this formula up here is how many people are entering. This formula here is how many people are leaving. Now for A, it says how many people have entered the park by 5 p.m. t equals 17. So we are going to be using the top formula. So this is A. Now you do your integral because you're trying to find how many people, not the rate. So you do the integral from 9 because, as I said before, that is your minimum t value, to 17 because that is where they are asking you to go. Of e of t, because as I stated before, that is your formula to see how many people are entering, and then d of t. Now, a good thing to do is to plug in both formulas into y1, y2, just so you can plug in y1 into your integral. So I'm not going to do all that work right now. I'm just going to give you the answer, and it will be 6. You get the value of 6,004.27, but they ask you to round your answer to the nearest whole, so it'll be 6,004 people entering. So here is your first answer. Now, question B. The price of admission to the park is $15 until 5 p.m., which is, again, t equals 17. After 5 p.m., the price of admission to the park is $11. How many dollars are collected from admission to the park on the given day? Round your answer again to the nearest whole. So for this one, you're going to be using the same formula as we used before because they're paying for admission, they're not paying to leave. So you're only going to need to use the top formula. So you see that it is $15 from the time 9 to 17. So you do 15, because that's the dollar amount, times definite integral from 9 to 17 of e of t, because again, that's the formula we're using for people entering. And then dt, of course. And then you're adding that because it says after 5 p.m., which is after t equals 17, the price of admission is $11. So you do 11, because that's a dollar amount, times the integral from 17 to 23 of e of t again, dt. Now, you plug that into your calculator. I'm not going to do that for you right now. And the answer would be 104,048. And some other decimals, but they asked you to round to the the whole number, so it would just be this. This is your answer right here. Now, it also asks, no, that's it. Now, on the answer sheet, it says that you can also get another amount of 104,041. So clearly this is if you round differently, I guess, but the top answer is what you should get if you plug in all the stuff I showed you before. All right, so going on to part C. Now, part C is saying let h of t equal the definite integral from 9 to t. We're always starting at 9 because that's the minimum value of e of t, which is going of the rate in minus the rate out. So for the time 9 to 23. And it says the value of h of 17 to the nearest whole number is 3,725. So that's basically plugging in the integral from 9 to 17 of e of x minus L of x, and you would get 3,725. So it's asking you to find the value of h prime of t. So this is something to note, because the h prime would just be the rates, because the derivative of an integral is just what's inside the integral. So this is asking you h prime of 17 equals, and since you're taking the derivative of an integral, they just cancel it out, and you're just trying to find the rate, essentially, because the derivative of anything, h prime would be the rate at which it's going. So you're going to plug in 17 into the formula they give you. And if you have that in your calculator, you just do y, you go to vars, go over 1, go to y1, and then put parentheses 17 minus y2 parentheses 17. And what you would get is negative 380.281. So, and that's not all. See, first time I did it, I skipped, thought that was the answer, circled it, No, that's not right. Well, that is the right answer, but it says explain the meaning of h of 17 and h prime of 17. So h of 17 just means that there were 3,725 people in the park at time t equals 17. And in the scoring, they say it's -1 if you don't reference t equals 17. So you need to include that because they want to know exactly where you're talking. So there were, in the park at t equals 17. All right, that's explaining what h of 17 is. Now, explaining what h prime of 17 is, h prime is the derivative of h, which means that it's the rate of h. So our number, negative 380.281, is the rate at which the people of the park is decreasing at by people per hour, because you need to remember that the units. So this would be people per hour. So this would be the rate. So you need to explicitly say h prime is the rate at which the number of people is decreasing because it's a negative number. And then, very important, at t equals 17. So that's very important. The t equals 17 part is worth basically 1 point out of 3 for this part. So it would be stupid just to lose that point just because you didn't write in t equals 17. All right, next question. So last one, D. Now D is asking you at what time t for 9 for the interval we have, always 9 to 23, does the model predict that the number of people in the park is a maximum? Now, when we think of maximums, we immediately think to the derivative. So you're gonna try to find where the derivative of h, because remember h was the rate in minus the rate out. So this is asking the number of people, so you're going to have to take into account the people coming in and the people coming out. It's not just asking you for the people coming in. So you're going to take it, and then we saw before that h equaled the integral from e of t minus L of t. But when we see the word maximum, we see that we should look for this, the derivative of this. So we do h prime, and as we said before, that is just e of t. That's just the two rates. So it's L of t. Now we're trying to find specific points. So as usual, we set this equal to 0. And you see that if you just add L of t to the other side, you see that E of t is equal to L of t. And so what we do now is that you should already have the formulas above, E of t and L of t, plugged into your calculator. And what you would do is you would go to your graph, and then mine was a little bit off, so I did zoom fit and saw that it didn't cover all the way, so I just calculated my windows accordingly. I made the X max larger, but it might be different for everyone, so just do zoom fit and then just change it accordingly. So then you do second trace 5, enter, 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 because you're trying to find the intersect, and you get the value of t equals 15.795, because that is the only point you get. So if you were looking at the number line that we usually make for these things, it will be 15.795. This will be 9 because you always use your endpoints as the critical values. And this will be 23. And now when you plug everything in, you see that this is positive to the left. You just plug in y1 parentheses like 10 minus y2 parentheses 10, and then you would do y, and then that would get you this side. And then you would see that this is negative by plugging in like 16 or 17 into the y1, y2. You see that's negative. So it's asking for the maximum. And see how this is going up, then it's going to 0, and then down. You see that this point is the only maximum. And before, we would usually have to, if you get 2 points where they intersect, you would have to, an endpoint could be a maximum or a minimum, but in this case, since we only have this one, then that's the only maximum we have. And now, this one is not asking you to explain this, as the past ones have, so you basically just circle this answer right here, and you are done.